Hello, my YouTube friends. How are you? I am coming live to you from Brooklyn. I just want to be here more. I want to be on YouTube more. And it's been a challenge for me lately to make the videos and edit them. Things are busy. Things are busy. I don't have the bandwidth that I did over the summer to edit and cut videos. So I'm just going to be coming live and talking about things that I am inspired to talk about that I think might help some of you. And today we're going to talk about something that I have been wanting to talk about for a long time, and that's drinking and mommy drinking culture. So if you're a mommy who loves your wine, first of all, I feel you. I was you. Wine was one of the greatest passions of my life. And if it's working for you, if you're able to have a couple of glasses of wine when you want to and you don't have really any negative side effects in your life, that's fantastic. I honor that. You do you. This video might not be for you. But we are in such stressful times right now, and the New York Times just came out with another article talking about how mothers feel like such failures at this time. And mothers are really bearing the brunt of this crisis in many ways. And what happens when we're overstressed and we don't have an outlet and we don't have support and we don't have school, we don't have time to take care of ourselves in the way that we need to? A lot of women are drinking too much. And so I just feel like it's my duty to come on and maybe speak to just one mom who's struggling right now. And I come without judgment because we are set up to become problem drinkers in this culture. Wine is fed to us, specifically wine is fed to us as the answer to all of our problems. And like I said, I don't judge anyone who drinks. I don't judge anyone for anything, to be honest. I mean, unless it's really bad, because everyone's different. But for me, 3 years ago, it became too much. My drinking 3 glasses of wine every night was no longer sustainable. That's a longer story. I'm not going to get into the whole long story of that today. I will at another time. I'm working on like my story, and how I stopped drinking alcohol and why and all of that. I'll talk a little bit about that today. But I just was thinking, and I just was reading an article, and I just felt in my body that there are women right now who are caught in the cycle. And it's an addictive cycle because alcohol is an addictive substance. That's it. It's not because of who you are and who your parents were and whether you got the gene or didn't get the gene. Yeah, you were raised with certain, maybe certain people have better coping mechanisms than others. But the truth is that if you drink an addictive substance over and over and over again, you're going to become dependent on it. That's it. So I don't really judge anyone who has any type of dependency issues because we're set up for it. And I just want to speak to that woman today who maybe is stuck in the cycle of knowing that she's drinking too much, but not knowing how to control it. And I remember before I was ready to stop, that's what I was focused on was, how can I control this? How can I keep this so that it doesn't get out of hand, so that I don't end up drinking that 4th glass of wine? Because if I could drink like 3 glasses of wine every night while I was cooking dinner, the witching hour at 5 o'clock, then I could keep everything under control. I wasn't really tipsy. I was just, relaxed. But every once in a while, I drank that 4th glass of wine and I got drunk, and that wasn't good for me, my health, my relationships, anything. So I know that there are women right now who are just thinking to themselves, how can I just keep it to a place where it doesn't get out of control? And I want to speak to you. Because, and there, I just want to share my experience because that's where I lived for many years is I just wanted to control how much I drank. If I could just keep it to like 2 drinks. But for me, I'm just sharing my experience. For me, it didn't work that way because 2 drinks made me want to have a third drink, and there are some people, like I know certain people who can have 1 glass of wine and they're fine. And it's miraculous to me that they can do that. But I guess I just really wanted to come and be here. If you are a mom where it gets to be 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and you end up drinking maybe more than you wanted to, and then you wake up with a headache or hungover and you feel the shame of that and you feel disappointment in yourself and you get through the day. And then the only relief for that feeling is really to have another drink in the evening. I just want you to know that I see you. I see you. You're not alone in this suffering. Okay. There's a whole community of women out there who have already admitted that this is an issue for them. So you're not alone. That's the first thing I want to say. If you're a mom who has turned to drinking during the pandemic, or drinking's been an issue for you for a long time and you've been questioning your relationship with alcohol, it can be a very lonely place because you usually hide it. Because alcohol is so normalized in our culture that if you feel out of control with alcohol, you think it's your fault and you think you have to hide it because everyone else seems like they can handle their liquor. Why am I the one that struggles with keeping it together after a couple of drinks, you know? And I just want you to know you're not alone and it's not your fault. That's what I really want to say, is that it's not your fault. Can we just take a deep breath into that, because that really touched my heart. Just breathe in the knowledge that any of our unhealthy coping mechanisms, whether it's drinking too much, eating too much, watching too much TV, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. You're not a bad person and you're not alone. You just have unmet needs. For me, what I realized, because I was this martyr mom for so long and I thought that's what you did when you had kids. You just gave them everything. You just did everything for them. You didn't do anything for yourself. And so my me time was at 5 o'clock. I would put music on and I would make dinner and I would have a party for one in the kitchen and drink my 3 glasses of wine. And that was my reward to myself at the end of the day for getting through another day. And it was really fun for like 20 minutes every night. But then, and I've read a wonderful book. It's called This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. And what it teaches you is that you're really, that 20 minutes where you first get that buzz when you drink your first glass of alcohol, maybe, you know, your first or second 20 minutes. Once you're past that 20 minutes, you're pretty much chasing that feeling for the rest of the evening. So you're giving you, if you're stuck in this cycle and torturing yourself for being stuck in the cycle, you're doing it for 20 minutes. That was something that really helped me. And her book is How to Control Alcohol, which I think is a really interesting title, because that's what I was looking for, was help me. I mean, I don't want to give up alcohol. Alcohol is my love. Like, this is what I have to make me relax. That's what I have to look forward to at the end of the day. Don't take that away from me, but teach me how to control it. Teach me how to control it. So that's the name of her book. And if you read it, of course, it really is an education of what alcohol really does to the body, what we're taught about alcohol, and at the end, it really just makes sense that you wouldn't want to put that in your body. Again, no judgment. If you are someone who drinks and you enjoy it, you know, I think that's great. If it's something that works for you in your life and there are no negative consequences, honestly. But that's not how it was for me, and I know that that's not how it is for thousands of women in our culture right now. So the first thing I want you to know, like I said, is that you're not alone. And it's not your fault, because you're in this like chemical cycle with ethanol, which is a drug, right? That makes you dependent on it. And it actually makes it so that the only way you feel relief is to drink more. So for so long, it was so big. I felt like if I was going to give up alcohol, like I couldn't imagine my life without it, you know? And I just want to say that 3 years, haven't drank for 3 years. I don't really even think about it anymore. That's all I want to say here today, is that if you're living in a world where wine is your best friend because it brings you comfort, you're taking care of everyone else, and then at the end of the day, that's what you have, right? And you can't imagine, but at the same time, you're suffering because you have headaches in the morning, you're not as healthy as you want to be, maybe you're hungover, maybe it's affecting some of your relationships, things are starting to crack a little bit, the edges are starting to crack. I just want you to know that if there's a little part of you that is a little curious about taking a break from alcohol, and you're just wondering, like, how do I even do it? How do I even get there? Like, what does life even look like without wine? I just want to tell you that it's great. The beginning was really rough, you know, the first couple of months, but there are coping mechanisms and tools that you can use. There are support groups. I belong to a great group called Sober Mom Squads on Facebook. I remember in the early days, I'll just give you a couple of tips for if you're thinking about stopping and you want to try just maybe like a month, like an experiment. That's what I did. I think I said a year. I think I'm not going to drink for a year. That's how I started out, but that's a longer story. I replaced my wine, my nightly wine, with my nice wine glass with ice cold club soda or kombucha, and still to this day when I cook dinner, that's what I drink. I drink club soda out of a wine glass, and it helps me because it's the ritual. And if it's cold and it's a nice wine glass, it still feels really like indulgent. So that's one of the things that I did. I belonged to a support group, and when I had cravings, I would get on there and share online and get support from other women who have been there. And really communicate with your partner if you have a partner and ask for help with your partner. But I just want to be an example that once you get through that, and what came up for me when I stopped drinking was that I had not been taking care of myself, that I had been ignoring all of my needs, my emotional needs, my physical needs. I wasn't tending to my body, my mental needs, spiritual needs. I was just giving everything to my kids and my family. And while that's really beautiful in a lot of ways, it's really a death of self in others. And you have to cope with that death of self. And drinking was my way of coping with it. So when I stopped drinking, so the first thing was just getting through like that initial trauma of like not having my crutch at the end of the day. And so you have these little tools that you use, like the club soda and the support group. And I started meditating like crazy. I started doing like 2 guided meditations a day when I first stopped drinking. But once you get through that, then what happens is a lot of emotions come up that you might have been pushing down for a little while, but then you reach out for help and you get yourself some help and you process those emotions. And then when you get through that and you start to really take care of yourself indulgently, you feel a peace of mind and satisfaction in life that you didn't have access to when you were drinking. So I just wanted to share that with you today because I can feel it. I know that there are moms out there, and on the blog that I was reading or the group that I was reading, there are women that are just starting to, today's my day one. How did you do it? How did you do it? So go and check that out on Facebook. It's a free group that you can join, Sober Mom Squad. They've been all over the news. I also want to extend myself. This is an area that I coach. I coach newly sober women. So if you're someone who's sober curious or interested and you need a little support, take me up on my free session. I give everyone one 50-minute free sanity session. So get in touch with me, and it would be my honor to support you and help you map out your plan to lessen your drinking, enter sobriety, cope with what's coming up, because it's really challenging and you need support. So it would be an honor to sit with you and come up with some plans for you and maybe a self-care routine that's sustainable for you. So I wanted to make that offer as well. The book by Annie Grace, start reading books, educate yourself, and podcasts. I was always, honestly, for the first year, whatever I was doing, whether I was pushing a stroller to the playground or the park, or I was cooking, or I was cleaning. I don't really clean that much. I will tell you, I'm not a great cleaner. Good cook, not a great cleaner. I straighten, but I'm not a great cleaner. I was listening to podcasts, just taking in knowledge about sobriety, also about spiritual healing, about emotional healing, about self-care, just devouring anything that I could learn, which is what ultimately led me to a coaching certification, because I wanted to help other people find the information that I found in order to heal myself. But I have now broken through. In the beginning, I found it really hard to say, oh yeah, I'm never going to drink again. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling because I couldn't imagine a life without drinking ever again. And so don't worry about that. Just worry about today. I'm not kidding. Just worry about today. Can you not drink today? And then do that again tomorrow and the next day. And once it builds, what happens is you start to feel the quality of your life improve. The quality of my life is so vastly improved since I stopped drinking. My connection with my kids, my connection with my partner, my connection with myself, being my authentic self, entering a career that I love, being here with all of you, beautiful women, and it's my honor to support you and share my story. Then you have this evidence. Once you haven't been drinking for a while, the quality of your life is so superior that it just makes sense. Why would I go down that road again? Why would I go back there? It's like I'm free. I don't have to think about whether I'm going to drink or not. I just don't drink. And I don't really have cravings anymore. Occasionally I do. A couple weeks ago, we were at a party in the park at night and there was like a bonfire and everyone was drinking and having a great time. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to go because this is triggering me a little bit. And so we left. I'm really lucky I have a supportive partner. I hope you do too. I hope you can sit down with your partner if you're struggling and let them know that this is something that you want and that you need support. That's another thing, is telling people. And that's hard. When you first start telling people that you're not drinking, it's hard because you're worried about judgment. You're worried they're going to think you're crazy or you're an alcoholic or you're a drunk, but it holds you accountable. It holds you accountable. So just tell one person you trust, whether it's your partner or a good friend or a sister or a loved one. Tell one person you trust just to get it out of your body and share it with someone. And I'm sure you'll get support because I'm sure you'll choose someone that is, loving and supportive. The more people you can tell that you love and support you, it's great because it holds you accountable. Now, I guess you could say it's kind of risky because if you're not really ready to commit, but that's why I think maybe just one person is good. But that helped me too. To let people know. And there were certain things that I didn't do in the beginning. I remember a very good friend of mine had a 40th birthday party that I knew was going to be this raging party. And I didn't go. And instead I said, let's go have lunch. Let's go do something special together, just you and me. But I know that I can't go to that party. That's going to be too hard for me. And so sobriety becomes your number one priority, because, and what that really means when you say your sobriety is your number one priority, it really means that you're your number one priority. Taking care of your mind, body, soul, emotions is your number one priority. And that's like the dreamy part, is you learn how to make yourself the number one priority. And I never knew how to do that before I stopped drinking. I never knew how to do that because I knew if I didn't do that, I'd probably start drinking again. That's not something I wanted to do. So if you're out there and you're curious, pick up Annie Grace's book. Check out the Sober Mom Squad on Facebook. Being a mom is so hard right now. There's no judgment in having, fallen into a bad cycle with drinking. It's really easy to do. And I think most people have a slightly disordered relationship with drinking because it's a trap. It's a trap. Your tolerance raises, you need more. You waffle back and forth, you try not to do it, you get sucked in. It's a whole thing. And there's a whole science about why you get sucked in, which Annie Grace describes so beautifully. So I really recommend that book. So I'm sorry if this was not as like a linear story of my drinking story. I just felt called to discuss this today because I read an article and I just saw some women reaching out for help. So if there's just one woman that sees this here, that needs to know she's not alone, it's not her fault, and just start today. Just start today and go get some club soda. If you don't want to drink anymore, then get it out of the house. Get it out of the house. That was hard too for me. I used to have like these boxes of wine. When boxes of wine came out, I was thrilled back in the day when I drank. So I was like, I don't have to go to the liquor store for that long. And I gave it to my husband. I was like, get rid of this. And then I went looking for it a couple days later, but it wasn't there. So get it out of the house. That's number one. And then get some really good, like kombucha is good. I think I said that earlier, some flavored club sodas, and get ready for some emotions to come up, some anxiety to come up, because your body's used to that kind of release at the end of the day. So it's going to come. It's going to come. So what can you do that time of day? I had heard a suggestion that someone took a bath at 5 o'clock every night, like put their kids in front of a video and took a bath to like deal with the stress that came up when they were first stopping. You can get creative. But really what I want you to know is that if this is something you choose to do for yourself, it will be the greatest gift you ever give yourself. And it's worth it. It's worth the struggle. It's worth the pain. And if you want to talk about it, reach out. I'd be happy to support you. Okay. All right, everyone. If this video was for you, thank you for listening and opening your heart. If it wasn't for you, if drinking is not an issue for you and you stayed this long, then maybe you know someone who's having a problem with alcohol and you can either recommend this video or give them some of the suggestions, pass on some of the suggestions that I gave, because it's pretty, it's out there right now. A lot of people are doing this. It's a tough time. And we're taught that that's the answer. You just go get a bottle of wine and then you'll be okay. But a lot of us aren't okay, right? So let's just take a deep breath In. And as we breathe in, maybe we breathe in the possibility that there could be a shift, that we could learn how to cope with our stress in our lives in a healthier way. No matter whether you've been drinking too much or doing something else too much, scrolling on your phone too much, let's just breathe in the possibility that there could be a different way. And let's exhale any of the self-judgment or self-hatred that we've held on to for so long, thinking that it's our fault. Breathing in new possibility, bringing it down into the belly, allow the belly to expand, hold it, exhaling. As we exhale, and let go of some of that negative energy towards ourselves that no longer serves us, okay? All right, thank you for being with me today, and I will see you next time, okay? But there's hope, and it gets so much better. Just keep going. If you've started recently, just keep going and reach out for help however you can, and get some help and support because you deserve it. All right, hang in there, mamas. I'll see you next time. Bye.